Victor Wembanyama has been the center of attention because of his performances against NBA G League Ignite. You can talk to anyone who's a fan of basketball, and we guarantee they're only going to have good things to say about the athlete. So in this video, we're going to talk about what one scout had to say about Wemby. And trust us, you won't believe when you hear it. Let's get right into it. Starting off, who did this scout compare Victor to? The 7'3" French giant's been drawing all sorts of comparisons, but we think the craziest one comes from this anonymous international scout. According to the scout, seeing Wembanyama go off against the NBA G League Ignite team was like watching Jesus walk on water. That sounds outrageous, right? Surely there's nothing on this earth that can compare to watching Jesus walking on water. Well, for the scout, Wembanyama stepping on the court is just as jaw-dropping to witness, if not more. That begs the question, is Wembanyama really that impressive? To answer that question, we'll have to look at a stat line from the exhibition games against Ignite. In his first outing against Ignite, Wemby put up an insane stat line as he scored 37 points, blocked 5 shots, and drained 7 threes. The best part was that his efficiency was spectacular, as he shot 55% from the field and 63.6% from beyond the arc. Unfortunately though, he couldn't carry his team to the W. 2 days later, both teams faced off once again with Victor seeking revenge. He put up 37 points and 11 rebounds, allowing his team, Metropolitans 92, to win the game. Wembanyama was out there looking like a mix of Curry, KD, and Giannis, and he's only 18 right now. Just imagine what he's gonna do once he gets drafted into the NBA. It should be illegal to be this good, but hey, at least it makes for entertaining basketball. Next up, let's look at what others are saying about the 18-year-old. Whether it's NBA players, insiders, or fans, they all believe Victor has the potential to go down as the greatest player in NBA history. NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski claimed that the big man's the greatest prospect in NBA history because there's never been anyone like him. Wojnarowski went on to say that his sources are telling him that teams are incredibly desperate to get their hands on the prodigy. What will the implications of this be? Well, teams are going to try their hardest to tank just so they can secure the first pick and select Wemby. Expect some insane race to the bottom tactics next year. When LeBron James was asked about what he thinks of the French sensation, he called him a generational talent. He went on to tell reporters that calling Victor a unicorn wasn't accurate because we've seen a bunch of them in the past. Instead, LeBron called Wembanyama an alien because he said he's never seen anyone like him, and likened Victor to that unbeatable 7-foot created player in NBA 2K who can do it all, adding that Wemby gives him those cheat code type vibes. The praise didn't stop there, as Channing Frye believes that the Frenchman is a combination of Kevin Durant and Yao Ming. Frye thinks that Victor will be unguardable and change the game of basketball once he's drafted. Imagine being 18 and hearing all this about yourself. We're sure Wembanyama's over the moon right now. Moving on, is Victor a better prospect than LeBron was? With all the buzz surrounding Victor's name, fans and analysts have now started debating whether he's the greatest prospect in NBA history. Before Victor took the league by storm, everyone would tell you that LeBron was the best draft prospect, but now, lots of people like Ben Simmons are saying Wembanyama's a better one. LeBron's former teammate Richard Jefferson went a step further and said if both James and Victor were part of the 2003 draft class, the Frenchman would have been selected ahead of King James. The issue with this debate, which many fans pointed out, is that it's hard to answer the question without being biased. That's because everyone will keep thinking about everything LeBron's done and find it difficult not to factor all that in. Wemby, however, barely has any experience under his belt. But of course, the word prospect means we need to look at both players as if they've never played in the NBA. Some fans have said that strictly as a prospect, Victor's more exciting than LeBron because what he can do with his crazy height. Others have pointed out that his height can actually cause issues for him. After all, we've seen so many tall players suffer from injuries and have terrible durability as they get older. LeBron didn't have to worry about this, but Wemby definitely has to. No matter how pointlessly hypotheticals are, they sure are fun to think about. Who do you guys think is a better prospect, LeBron or Victor? Lastly, are people getting ahead of themselves? Let's not act like this is the first time the NBA world has gone crazy over a young, super talented prospect. It's been happening for years, and while lots of them live up to the hype, others are never able to. Sure, watching Wemby play is a sight for sore eyes, but most of these reactions and opinions are based on just a few games. By no means are we encouraging hate for Victor, but if you take a look at his international stats so far, they aren't anything too crazy. Don't believe us? Get this. In 52 games, he just averaged 7 points and 4 rebounds. We understand that he's only played 16.6 minutes a game during the 52 games, but his efficiency was pretty underwhelming too, as his shooting splits were 42, 31, 68. There's nothing too worrying about these numbers because he's really young and has a lot of time to keep getting better. We just think that some of the things people are saying are a little too much. There's no need to put so much pressure on the young fellow right now. You never know what the future holds, and as terrible as it may sound, one terrible injury could ruin Wemby's chances of being an all-time great. Now let's compare Wembanyama to another top prospect, Scoot Henderson. First up, let's look at Victor's strengths and weaknesses. Just a heads up, but his strengths far outweigh his weaknesses. Starting with his defense, Victor's a menace when it comes to defense as he can defend and block almost any shot. He can defend in the post or out on the perimeter, and that's not something most big men can do. When it comes to offense, his bag's insanely deep. Not only can he drill threes, but when he does, he looks like he's KD or Steph. He can make catch catch and shoot threes as well as pull-up threes, and his middies just as deadly. His release is so quick and high that many think he'll be impossible to guard. What's more, unlike other 7-foot giants, Wembanyama dribbles the ball like he's a seasoned point guard. It just shouldn't be possible for a big man to have handled something as fluid as his. Of course, as terrific as Wemby is, he does have some areas which could work on some improvement. He needs to bulk up and build up some Giannis-type strength if he wants to be dominant in the league. If he doesn't work on getting bigger, he'll likely suffer many injuries. Other than that, his decision-making hasn't been the best at times, with the athlete making careless passes that result in turnovers. Next up, we're going to discuss Henderson's strengths and weaknesses. The 6'4" guard is easily the second best prospect as of now, and much like Wembanyama, he has tons of strengths. He's explosive and athletic, and he has an insane amount of bounce. He'll dunk on anyone and everyone, just like J.A. Plus, Scoot's a great dribbler who can easily make his way past defenders and finish at the rim. Henderson's two greatest strengths are his screen and roll play, as well as his signature mid-range shot. When it comes to ball screen situations, he's a problem for opposing teams because of his speed, IQ, and terrific playmaking. His midi is lethal because he can rise for one after a full-speed dribble and then make it into the defender's face. His worst weakness so far appears to be his terrible three-point shooting. Out of a total of 51 attempts from beyond the arc, Scoot only made 11. That's a terrible percentage for a guard in today's NBA. Besides that, his defense needs to be improved, as he's not particularly quick at making reads and has a tendency to foul way too much. Finally, which player should be drafted first? The weaker teams in the NBA, such as the Detroit Pistons and the Orlando Magic, are hoping and praying that they can either land the first or second pick, so they can land either of the two 18-year-olds. Of course, teams pick players depending on their needs, but we think it's a clear-cut answer. Whichever team gets the first pick in next year's draft must select Wembanyama. He has too much potential to be passed up on, and as good as Scoot is, we think Wemby is more NBA ready than him. That's a wrap for this video. How would you guys describe watching Victor play? Let us know in the comments below. As always, remember to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.